Can can you hear me? Do you hear my voice? Yes. So, here at Peek Around the Corner, we have corrected a whole bunch of issues. We're getting smooth. The last 3 or 4 live shows, we're not getting all this bad stuff happening to our shows. But now, the audio doesn't work sometimes when we pop on. If it isn't one thing, it's another thing here in life and in college football. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to donate to this college football rebel outpost for sickos like you. Hit the $sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to it as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend in the chat room. I apologize for my voice. It still has not recovered from yesterday's Gopher game and post game. One of the reasons why we did not do a watch party last night. The voice is just starting to come back, but it's not all the way there. And by the way, I am going to sing Seminole Wind. This is why I'm going to sing it. Tracy FSU made a donation. And of course, you know what the rules are. If you make a donation, you ask the host to sing a song. If your team wins the next game as an underdog. Those are the rules. But Florida State lost. They lost big. So why am I breaking the rules? Well, it is my YouTube show. I can break the rules if I want to break the rules. I'm breaking it because Florida State has been through so much. So much drama. So much adversity. Now me singing a song is probably only going to make it worse. But look, the hurricane, thank goodness, did not have a direct hit on Tallahassee, but it hit that whole area. They've been through so much. So I'm going to go and sing Seminole Wind some point in this live show. And I don't have a voice, so it's even going to be worse. But I have embarrassed myself before. I'm going to embarrass myself today, and I'm going to embarrass myself in the future. That's just the way it is. We have so many stories to get through. I mean, Alabama, Georgia. Oh, an epic football game. Unbelievable catches. That true freshman cornerback that won the game for Alabama at the end. Jalen Milroe. I've got him number 2, I think, on my Heisman list. I put on my Heisman list, my Heisman watch list earlier today. I got Travis Hunter number 1. I think I've got Milroe number 2. Holy smokes. Under Kalen DeBoer. He's playing some football. I mean, you've got stories out there. You've got Navy rolling. You got UNLV putting all those points up without Matt Luca. You've got Ashton Genty, Boise State. You've got the Buckeyes. They keep rolling. You got Penn State, who was able to get through Illinois. You've got story after story. The Duke Blue Devils down 20, 21-20. Diaz, they're 5-0 for the first time in I don't know when. I know the year has been posted. I can't remember it. You've got story after story after story after week 5. This expanded playoffs, Utah goes down to Arizona. This expanded playoffs is the greatest thing that has happened to college football since the incorporation of the modern day forward pass, which was way back then. Unbelievable week 5. Unbelievable. Laura Weiss is in the house. Texas Tech Red Raider. Texas Tech, I think they're tied for first in the Big 12. We're going to go through the standings. We are going to check out the landscape of college football. It's Sunday morning. Richard L., Colorado plays the best game probably under Deion Sanders. Preston from Greensboro, college football is pain, and I'm the new mayor. You're not the new mayor, my friend. You're definitely not the new mayor. You might be the mayor next to Loserville City. But I'm still the mayor. And if you can't see that after yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. Humble Bumble Duck is in the house. Bob Swanger, son of Sarek. Thomas Roll Tide Roll. Arnegod, loud and clear. I don't know what's going on with that. We fixed everything else, and now something else has arrived. Matt Neeson, Iowa State, 4-0. The Cyclones, they are a story. BYU, a story. Navy, a story. It goes on and on and on. Ashton Genty, Boise State, story. We've got more things to be watching for, looking out for, talking about on a college football YouTube channel this year than any other year previous. Going from 4-team playoffs to a 12-team playoffs has unleashed all these stories going on in college football. Randy Taylor, Opie. Oh my God, I'm up, and so is the Godfather. Thank you for coming on in, Opie. I appreciate it. Alani Ted. No question about it. Illinois football is just, it's on a very, very, very good trajectory, on a very, very good ride. CFB plus Brickbat, please, I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. Patrick Bear. Yeah. Time's up, Greg. Trojans are coming. Oh, boy. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a couple of shots of tequila last night. Same thing is probably going to be happening next Saturday night. Kill Ball is in the house. Christopher Shannon. Juan Carlos. The Walking Geek. Expedition Greg. Jeremiah Smith. Yes, he's unbelievable. I don't think he is like... He's going to be a legendary player in college and in the NFL. Keelani is in the house. Florida State football isn't showing any signs of resilience. Lee's in the house. AMAC, LFG. Ron Lowney is here. Marcus Williams. I don't think... thank you for the kind words. I don't think we deserve to beat Michigan. Not at all. No, I don't think so. I think people are misconstruing what I'm saying. We got screwed on that call. I don't care what... You do not call that offsides unless it's egregious, because it's such a difficult call to make. The referee had one job. I know there's missed calls on both sides in every game. I'm just pissed off about it. I think it's okay for a Gopher fan. Look, I'm a host of a national college football YouTube show, but I can be upset. I'm always upset. Good Lord, I'm always upset. I'm a Golden Gopher fan. I can be upset about that. But the Gophers, Michigan is a very limited team this year, but they're still a lot better than the Gophers. And they outplayed the Gophers 3 quarters. If Michigan and Minnesota lined up against each other 10 times right now, 10 consecutive weeks, the Gophers would probably win 1 game. So I don't necessarily believe Minnesota should have won. I don't think they should. Michigan's the better team. And they played the better game. They got the turnovers. Minnesota is extremely limited. More limited than Michigan. But on the other hand, I do have the right to complain about a call. AMAC is in the house. Steve, Bearcat Steve is in the house. J-Rod is here. Charlie Atwood. Tom DeBay. N.E. You got Tennessee. That's a story too. That is a story as well. By the way, I said this. I am going to break a rule today. I'm going to break a rule. I'm going to get some complaints. And it's okay. You can complain. But normally when somebody makes a donation to this channel in regards to sing this song, here's a donation, if my team wins this week. If your team wins, that's an underdog. If you made a donation, if you've made the request, and your team loses, I don't sing the song. But if your team wins, I do sing the song. Tracy FSU made a very kind donation. Said, please sing Seminole Wind if Florida State can upset SMU. We all know that SMU crushed Florida State in the second half. So by rule, I will not sing Seminole Wind. But I am going to sing Seminole Wind. Because Florida State has been through so much. And it ain't just Florida State, it's that whole region. They just got hit by a hurricane. Tallahassee did not get a direct hit. The university is fine. But there's a lot of people connected to the university, a lot of fans, people Florida, North Carolina. There has been devastation. So I am going to break the rule, and I'm going to sing Seminole Wind today. I don't even have my voice, so it's going to be worse than normal. I'm going to embarrass myself, but I've embarrassed myself on this show before. I'm going to embarrass myself today. I'm going to embarrass myself in the future. That is what we do at college football peek around the corner. So, I am going to sing Seminole Wind here. And, Tracy FSU's not in the house. I don't know if any Florida State fans are in the chat. But when they come in the chat, we'll just tell them, go check out Sunday morning coming down live show, and they can listen to it then. But first of all, we got to go through the games. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. Where do we begin? Where do we even begin? I suppose we'll start with the top 25. Miami, we did a watch party on that game. Escapes with a 38-34 victory. There was a call with the Hail Mary touchdown, and then it was reversed. Miami 38-34. Number 7th in the country. I've got Cam Ward. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me. I think I've got Cam Ward number 2. No, I've got 3. My PATC Heisman watch after week 5 is number 1, Travis Hunter. Number 1, Travis Hunter. Number 2, Jalen Milroe. Number 3, Cam Ward. Number 4, Ashton Jeanty. And number 5, Nico. And I've got number 6, Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel with a completion percentage rating of 82, 81% this year. Dylan is climbing. Ashton Jeanty, I don't care if you look at his stats, his advanced stats. He is an island onto his own. He could be number 1 at the end of this year. Ashton Jeanty could be the Heisman winner coming out of Boise State. I think he's a serious candidate. Cam Ward is a serious candidate. Even with some of those mistakes he makes, his play is on an elite level. Milroe, elite level. Travis Hunter, he's averaging almost 10 catches a game. Over 100 yards. He's an excellent receiver. He's even of a more dynamic defensive back. Colorado is 4-1. I think Hunter is going to be hurt a little bit about how Colorado does, but maybe they keep rolling. We'll see. But right now, I've got Hunter number 1. Milroe number 2. Ward number 3. Jeanty 4. Nico 5. And I would not blame people if they've got Dylan Gabriel in the top 3, 2, 1. Caleb Johnson, the great running back of Iowa. I don't blame people if they have him number 3, 2, or 1. There's a lot of guys out there, man. There is a lot. This is a short. I like dealing with short lists, right? When it comes to the coaching carousel and Heisman watch, but those are the top 5 right now, and there is a lot of room that you can disagree. No question about it. No question about it. Jeremiah Smith is, and I said it earlier. He's going to be he's already an incredible college football player, and he's going to be a great NFL player. And he could be on the Heisman list here Again, it's only after week 5. Okay. Yeah, he's a special dude. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it up. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep averaging 9-10 catches a game and doing what he's doing on defense. I don't know. Okay, let's get into it. So Miami 38-34. I've got Cam Ward, number 3 on the Heisman watch. Texas 35-13. And Alabama 41-34. An epic game. A game for the ages. And I've got no problem if they play 3 times this year. Why would I? Why would I? With Ole Miss losing to Kentucky, Alabama and Georgia might be playing again in the SEC championship game. Might be playing again in what could be the second round of the playoffs. Or it could be the semifinals, or it could be the championship game. Everybody watch this game. I think the ratings are going to be historic. Back and forth, great catches, and the true freshman wins the game at the end of the game. The Buckeyes keep rolling. Jeremiah Smith. The Buckeyes quarterback is moving up on the Heisman list as well. Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 17. A major step back for Ole Miss. And again, I want to show you something here. We talked about it last year with Ole Miss. When Quinshon Judkins declined massively from his freshman season to his sophomore season. And now he's with the Buckeyes. The Ole Miss running game, the O-line doesn't do it. Doesn't do it on the run game. The Ole Miss offensive line cannot, they're not, this is the Achilles heel of Ole Miss. It was last year. And it's this year. I don't know why Henry Parrish, I don't know why he went to Ole Miss. Probably the money, but I always liked Henry Parrish. I don't know. I don't know why he went there. He could have went someplace else. But anyways, Ole Miss, it's the run game. 3 yards average per rush. It ain't going to do it. It ain't going to help them. It can't do it against the better teams in the SEC. Congratulations to Kentucky. They lose 1 point to Georgia the week before, and they come back and they beat Ole Miss. Let's get back to the rest of the top 25. Oregon rolls on, 34-13. Penn State 21, Illinois 7. Illinois started that game leading 7-0, but Penn State put the clamps on Illinois. Utah goes down 23-10. Again, when is Cam Rising coming back? Utah needs their quarterback. Michigan 27, Minnesota 24. I would have lost the house. Because I would have put the money on Michigan at -10. USC 38, Wisconsin 21. USC comes charging back. Miller Moss, let me know. Let me know in the chat room. It sounded like he might have we'll see. Is he okay? Is he going to be healthy for the Minnesota game next week? He got rung. He got his head rung a little bit. Let me know. Let me know if there's any, not just today, but early in next week, if there's any information on Miller Moss's health. LSU rolls. Notre Dame, good game. It was a good game. Notre Dame 31-24 I did not think Notre Dame was even going to win this game. But their passing game is improving. Riley Leonard, he got hit a few times. He got a shot in the leg. Right in the thigh, right in the hip. But he stayed in there, 31-24 over Louisville. Clemson is rolling. And now suddenly Clemson is 2-0 in the ACC, and they are the major threat to win the ACC championship and to get into the playoffs. Iowa State 20, Houston 0. Beck to Higgins, touchdown. The Cyclones are for real. Kansas State 42, the Cowboys are not for real. I predicted them 8th in the Big 12. I think I'm going to be pretty correct on that. They do not have the quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. For a very good team, for an incredible and experienced team, Gundy did not find them a different quarterback. That was the major mistake, in my opinion. Oklahoma comes back and wins, defeats Auburn. Big win for the Sooners. Their first SEC win. BYU survives. 38-24. Darius Lassiter, great receiver. He makes the big plays. He makes the big plays for BYU. When they need it, he makes the big play. Jake Ratzlaff, again, a couple interceptions, but BYU survives it. Baylor showed some life in this game. Texas A&M comes back 21-17 over Arkansas. Big win for Coach Elko. 2-0 in the SEC. The Aggies. Boise State rolls over Washington State. Ashton Genty, 259 yards. 259 yards. 4 touchdowns. Holy smokes. Unbelievable running back. We've got him number 4 in the Heisman race. Again, we're just going to go through this quickly, and then we're going to go through the standings. Games that we missed here in the ACC. Boston College, 21-20. 21-20 over Western Kentucky. They're 4-1. Northern Illinois gets defeated again as they are basically out of the college football race. Maybe not quite completely out. North Carolina State, not a good season this year. I did the old Greg the Iceberg on them. Syracuse 42, Holy Cross 14, Louisiana 41, Wake Forest suffering through a bad season. We talked about it. Duke, down 20, gets 3 consecutive touchdowns, 21-20. Duke is 5-0, 1-0 in the ACC. Unbelievable job by Manny Diaz. First year of Duke. Lewis, the legendary caller in the PATC community, has got to be pretty excited. SMU 42-16 over Florida State. We talked about it earlier. The fans of the Seminoles are really upset. They are hot. That team was not constructed in the way that they thought. They're pretty slow. DJ is slow. The running backs, the O-line, the running game is horrific. The receiver room is not all that strong. The defense is not going to hold up. The Seminoles is going to win at least one more game this year. They play Southern Charleston or some school like that. But they're going to have a tough time winning an ACC game. Another ACC game. Arizona 23, Utah 10. We went through that. TCU 38, Kansas 7, Colorado 48, UCF 21. A very disappointing game for UCF. College game day, they're all excited, and they got their doors blown off. Colorado goes to 4-1. Texas Tech 44, Cincinnati 41. Cincinnati misses a field goal to tie the game. Heartbreak. Again, heartbreak for the Bearcats. Heartbreak for the Bearcats. We'll quickly go through the Big Ten games that we haven't touched yet. Rutgers 21. Washington 18. We did a watch party on that. Rutgers goes 4-0. They got a big game next week. USC, we did that. Indiana, they got to be ranked this week. 42, Maryland 28. 5-0, the Hoosiers. 5-0. 5-0. Curtis Rourke, the quarterback. He's doing the job. 2 years ago, he was the MAC Player of the Year. Had to recover from a serious knee injury last year. Goes in the portal, and Signetti knows his talent. He knew that that's the guy he wanted. Curtis Rourke. He brings him in, and look what the Hoosiers are doing. Nebraska 28, Purdue 10. If you think Northwestern has issues, if you think Minnesota has issues, Purdue, wow. That team does not look like a power conference team at all. They're getting bludgeoned. Nebraska had 0 points in the first half due to their incredible bad mistakes, self-sabotage. But Purdue, the Oregon State, the Notre Dame game, the Oregon State game, the Nebraska game, Purdue legitimately, the Boilermakers legitimately, physically, are just not there. It's pretty bad right now. I do believe that Walters may get on the hot seat by the end of the year. The Purdue team is not competitive in any way, fashion, form. Nebraska should have won that game 50-10. Okay, let's quickly go through the SEC real quick, and then we got some other big games to talk about. We're going to get to your phone calls here in a little bit. No, that's it. We did the SEC. We did the SEC because they were all top 25 games. Let me go to UNLV 59, Fresno State 14. UNLV and Boise State still have to play each other. And they may play each other in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. UNLV 459-14. The line moved from UNLV -4 to UNLV plus a 1.5 before kickoff, and it was never competitive. Malik Williams, now QB1 for UNLV, no longer QB2, 13 of 16, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns. He ran the ball for another 119 yards. So Matt Luca is no longer on the roster. We covered the story last week. Malik Williams has taken over. Holy smokes. Again, big story. But if it wasn't for the expanded playoffs, it wouldn't be getting this exposure. But because of the expanded playoffs, we're talking about these G5 schools, all these G5 schools battling for one spot. And it's given the schools more exposure, the fans more incentive to buy tickets, more incentive for sponsorship money, on and on and on and on, just because you've given the G5 schools one spot. That one access, that single pathway access point for the G5 schools has created more value, more money, more exposure, more stories for the G5 schools, more opportunities for their student athletes. I hope that access does not get taken away. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to cover that. And I wanted to cover a couple more teams real quick. We're going to quickly go through the standings, and then we're going to go to your phone calls. If there's any super chats, anything like that, I wanted to point this out. Army 4-0, 3-0 in the American, 42-14 Army. Navy 41, UAB 18. Navy 4-0, 3-0 in the American. The first time Army and Navy are both 4-0 since 1945. I believe that's true. Wow. So let's go to the standings real quick. And we are going to start with the American Athletic Conference. Army 4-0, Navy 4-0. When it comes to G5 rankings, they're below UNLV. No question about it. No question about it. But they're sitting there. They are ready. The rest of the American Athletic Conference, Memphis, I don't know. That was a big loss to Navy. I don't know if Memphis can even get back in the picture. But we'll keep an eye on Navy. Everybody else in the American Athletic Conference is not a factor in the college football playoff race, but Army and Navy is. Remember, Navy plays Notre Dame October 26th. October 26th, Navy and Notre Dame. And boy, oh boy, is that going to be something. My goodness. That quarterback for Navy, if you haven't watched him yet, Norvath, wow. He is a man among boys when he's playing. Special talent. Absolute special talent. Running that ball, he is a truck. Absolute truck. Clemson, 2-0 in the ACC. Duke, 1-0. Miami, 1-0. Boston College, 1-0. SMU blows out Florida State, 1-0. Louisville, 1-0. Virginia, 1-0 in the ACC race. The Blue Devils and the Hurricanes are both 5-0 overall. Clemson is right there. Right there. Again, because of the expanded playoffs, you're looking at more than just the ACC champion, whoever that's going to be. The second place team might have a shot to get in there. There is an ACC race. No more two divisions. Clemson is coming on strong. Miami survives that defense. I've got questions about the Hurricanes' defense now after what I saw against Virginia Tech. Can they pull it together? And Duke keeps winning by the smallest of margins, 5-0. That is the ACC. We get on to the Big 12. And who is at the top of the Big 12? The BYU Cougars, the Colorado Buffaloes, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Iowa State's 1-0. Arizona, big win against Utah, 1-0. And don't forget about the Mountaineers, 1-0. Two disappointing losses in non-conference play, but they're in there. Kansas State suddenly looks vulnerable, 1-1. In Utah, you still can't forget about Kansas State and Utah in the race. But my goodness. BYU 2-0, 5-0 overall. The top 25 team. And of course, Iowa State. I fell in love with Iowa State. And Greg the Iceberg has not appeared in front of the Cyclone ship thus far. How many points has Iowa State given up? 29 points. 29 points in 4 games. The Cyclones are the real deal, Holyfield. Can BYU, are they wearing the glass slipper this year? Colorado, that was the best game under Deion Sanders. Are they starting? Have they gotten to another level? The Big Ten, Indiana Hoosiers, 2-0. Michigan, 2-0. The Buckeyes, 1-0. Oregon, 1-0. Penn State, 1-0. Rutgers, 1-0. Iowa, 1-0. Illinois, 1-1. Nebraska, 1-1. USC, 1-1. At some point, I think we're going to see the old Buckeyes and Oregon and Penn State emerge at the top. I'm not sold on Michigan. We'll see. And then is the Indiana Hoosiers wearing the glass slipper? I saw ESPN. Indiana has a 39% chance of making the college football playoffs. According to their whatever algorithm, the Hoosiers have a 39% chance of making the college football playoffs. Rutgers, 4-0. Manungai, the great running back, the defense. Kirk Shiraka has got his guy, the Greek rifle, not making any mistakes right now. The Hawkeyes, you can't count them out, that defense. But for me, it's still going to be the Buckeyes, Oregon, Penn State. But there might be a school wearing a glass slipper that might squeak in to the playoffs, maybe even to the Big Ten championship game. Just quickly here. The one team in Conference USA, Liberty 4-0, 2-0 non-conference. They're just 2 levels above everybody else. We got to keep an eye on Liberty. They did have a game canceled with App State. They're going to try to make it up. And of course, Notre Dame. We can't forget about Notre Dame, 4-1. They've got USC. They've got Navy. We'll see if they can climb back into the playoff picture. They are in the playoff picture, but they would not make the playoffs right now if the season ended. In the MAC conference, there's really nobody in the MAC that is going to make a run to the playoffs. So we're going to skip over the MAC. Eastern Michigan is 1-0, 4-1 overall, but they are not a player. Mountain West, UNLV, 4-0, 1-0 overall. San Jose State, 3-1, 1-0. And Boise State. Boise State and UNLV are the 2 teams to keep an eye on here in the Mountain West Conference. Boise State and UNLV, and they have to play each other in the regular season. Washington State 4-1, Oregon State 3-1. Washington State, a big loss against Boise State. It's going to really hurt them. Both having good seasons, but when it comes to the college football playoff race, that loss doesn't eliminate the Cougars, but it doesn't. It's going to hurt them tremendously. In the SEC, Texas A&M 2-0, Texas 1-0, Alabama 1-0, Missouri 1-0, Tennessee 1-0, LSU 1-0. The Sooners get their first victory. The Bulldogs get their first loss in the SEC. The Longhorns, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee are the cream of the crop in this conference. You can't count out Missouri. You can't count out LSU. And I said at the beginning of the season, I had Texas A&M finishing 7th. I think they're going to be a little bit better than most people expected. Can they squeeze in there? Anyways, that is the quick oversight of what happened. Quick oversight of what happened here in week 5. Now, before we get to your phone calls, as I explained earlier, I'm breaking the rules. The Seminoles lost, but because of everything that has happened in that region, Florida State, in that region, the storms, the hurricane, the tornadoes, I am going to sing Seminole Wind, John Anderson, because of the generosity of Tracy FSU. So let's get this done. Hit the mute button. Get the pets out of the room. Leave the room if you need to. This is going to be a really bad performance. I've only practiced this a few times. I've lost my voice yelling at the Gopher Wolverine game. But I'm going to sing it because why not? I've embarrassed myself before. And I'm going to do it many, 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 many times over. Let's get this done. And I should sing this so bad that YouTube should not strike me on this, but we'll see. Ever since the days of old, men would search for wealth untold. They dig for silver and for gold and leave the empty holes. And way down south in the Everglades, where the black water rolls and the sawgrass waves, the eagles fly and the otters play in the land of the Seminole. So blow, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again. I'm calling to you like a long-lost friend, but I know who you are. And blow, blow from Okeechobee all the way up to McCamp. Blow across the home of the Seminoles, the alligators and the guard. Progress came and took its toll in the name of flood control. They made their plans and they drained the land. Now the glades are going dry. And the last time I walked in the swamp, I sat upon a cypress stump. I listened close and heard the ghost of Osceola cry. So blow, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again. I'm calling to you like a long-lost friend, but I know who you are. And blow, blow from Okeechobee all the way up to McCamp. Blow across the home of the Seminoles, the alligators and the guard. All right, there it is. There it is. Seminole Wind. Very poor version of the Seminole Wind. Holy smokes. Look, I broke the rule. Florida State did not win. So I should not have sang that song. Generous donation by FSU, Tracy FSU. But all the things that Florida State has gone through, especially that whole region, the bend of Florida, whatever. We had to do it. We had to do it. Okay. Let's get to your phone calls. Let's get to your phone calls. 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. Give us a call. Talk about what you saw in week 5 or anything else in college football. Let it rip. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Smash the like button if you like our content. If you did not like the singing, or if you don't think a guy should be singing on a college football YouTube channel, hit the thumbs down button. Hit the thumbs down button. Smash that button up or down, whatever you want to do. Again, if you want to donate to this college football rebel outpost for college football sickles like you, hit the $ where you make a comment, and I will get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. I'm very humbled that you join us here on a Sunday morning reaction, college football week 5. And there's so many stories. I'm sure I have missed just about everything. Right? I mean, there's so many stories out there. So many stories. Give us a call and let me know what I've missed in your story. Yes, Pete Thamel, thank you, Expedition Great. Texas State, getting a verbal from the Mountain West, and it sounds like Texas State is going to take a couple days to decide. Right? Which means probably that Texas State is saying, okay, this is our offer. Oh, by the way, Pac-12, what can you do for us? Because the Pac-12 has had interest in Texas State. That's what's been reported. I have no information on that, but Texas State has been talking to the Mountain West, been talking to the Pac-12, been talking to the Sun Belt because they don't want to lose the Bobcats.
Call from
Rock and Rant.
Rock and Rant, can you just hold on for one moment? I apologize. I just got an early P Cloak and Dagger membership. Anthony Carlson, Mr. Spartan. I was expected the Buckeyes would crush us, but there are moments that Michigan State showed some promise. Michigan State has shown a lot of promise this year. They are way past my expectations thus far. Thank you, Spartans, for the generosity. Once again, you are hereby knighted, Cloak and Dagger. Thank you so very much. Rock and Rant, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
So, like, genuine, sincere sympathy for what your Gopher fan base went through yesterday. I mean, one play doesn't always make a game, but there's differences in all of that scale. And kind of one thing that I just want to bring up before we go into other games is there's, the replay system in general. I understand there's this whole world of it goes too far. You don't want to have it on every single play, but it doesn't mean that where we're currently at is actually the right way of doing it or can't be improved, So to me, there's sort of two things, and one was exemplified in your game, and another is exemplified in the Miami-Virginia Tech game.
Yeah.
Let's start with yours because it's not as simple as what I'm going to say, but generally, or actually, you can't review anything like a penalty call as a specific example, right?
Yeah.
But that's only because we decided that's the case, right? And maybe you don't want to go to the extreme of having every penalty reviewed by instant replay, which would be ridiculous. But I don't really know why there can't be something back where there's a blend of what the NFL does and college does, and maybe this is where it ultimately goes of everyone should have a challenge, and that challenge can be on anything. And you get one, and if you get it right, you get it again. And therefore, in your case, yes, most penalties are not genuinely challenged the way that the normal stuff would go, but you guys could have thrown a penalty, a challenge flag. They could have reviewed it. I think you probably would have gotten the decision there, and everything changes as one specific example. So I think that there should be that flexibility to cover these situations in a world where we are getting more and more crystal clear visions, cameras everywhere. If you either want to get the calls right or you don't be like, hey, we'll get some of them right. To the degree you can do it without turning every game into a 6-hour replay review. The flip side of that, or maybe not the flip side, but the correlation to that is the Miami-Virginia Tech end of game moment. The decision, whichever way you feel about it, and it's almost like a Rorschach test for how you feel about Miami one way or the other. I can see arguments on all sides of the equation. I'm not really here to have that argument about that. But one thing is for sure is they didn't really know what they saw on the field, right? But they have to make a call, and then replay follows from there. Maybe there should be another provision in certain cases where the refs can sit there and say, we don't know. We didn't see it correctly, and instead of having a call one way or the other, determined that we have to have concrete evidence over, we're just going to go to our replay officials, either whether it's just on the field or in the case of the ACC where they had the control room do it. And according to the ACC network and their statement, they went frame by frame in high def, and that's how they made that decision, again, right for wrong. So for me, I personally think that they got the call right, but their process is hard to say was right based off of everything we've seen in terms of what we all saw conclusive evidence-wise. But if you never had that first determination because they clearly didn't have a clue with all of that delay, then you don't have that situation. So it sucks that it impacted games. I feel for Virginia Tech fans. I feel for Minnesota fans. In my case, obviously not too upset about it, but I can understand everything that's going on. And Terry Porter and 2002 Fiesta Bowl says hi to Miami fans, and there's a little bit of 22-year delayed karma on that.
And again, just quickly, Virginia Tech played they played a really good competitive game with Miami.
Absolutely.
So I can see their, more, the Gophers, we did not deserve to win that game. I mean, I don't know what happened to Michigan. They're a very limited team. They got 6 incredible football players. They're better than Minnesota by far. I see, for me, and I think for most Gopher fans, I think it just came as a surprise how they came back and almost won that game. I think for Gopher fans, it's not that we deserved to win the game because we didn't, but it was we probably would have won the game, right? If we would have gotten that onside kick.
The momentum was
because
there.
Because Michigan was that defense was done at the end. And again, I'll say this. Look, as a Golden Gopher fan, I mean, we are going to bitch and complain. I mean, we're just like every other fan base. Just because we're not an elite football and we'll never will be a program, we're still going to complain. So for everybody out there being a little sanctimonious about, the Gophers, why you don't deserve, that's what I'm going to push back on very, very hardly at everybody. I'm going to complain just like everybody else. At the end, though, I don't think the Gophers deserve to win that game. I think most Gopher fans are after a day of going through the pain of that call, I think most Gopher fans are back to focusing on, man, are we in trouble? And next year, we're really in trouble. That's what we're focused on.
Yeah, and I don't, look, if it came down to who deserves, there's not a category of victory, ties that you won in overtime, like in hockey kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not about deserve to win. To me, it's more you didn't deserve to not have a chance to overcome not deserving to win on a really pretty blatantly bad call that arbitrarily is because of how the sport is set up, the replay rules is not reviewable, right? And in those kind of situations, I think that was a pretty clear-cut one, that a provision to at least give the coaches a chance to have that reverse would have been amazing. And I know everyone's, in terms of the weekend, I mean, if you just think about the first, the month of September and what we're seeing, this is insane. It's like absolutely insane. From the minute that things kick off on Thursday night, so the Thursday night games have not been super amazing, but they're still college football. But from the Friday ones for all these weeks, all the way through until like Utah losing late last night into in their game against Arizona, it's just amazing. And I completely agree with you that the expansion of the college football playoff. First of all, in the Alabama-Georgia game, there was not one moment where I was watching that game going, this doesn't matter, the CFP playoffs. Never happened until I saw commentary after. And if you thought about that during the middle of the game, I don't know what to tell you. You're just looking for things to complain about. But for every other thing, all those other games that you're talking about, college football is ridiculous this year because of the expansion and the interest. And the things I know that I personally know about all of those other schools that I would pay attention to mildly, but now I'm paying attention to vigorously enough to know, wow, Boise State, they're still on course. But I already know they're playing UNLV in like 3 weeks, and that could change everything. So, everyone's going to talk about the Alabama-Georgia game.
Let me just, like, for example, I'm going to put up on the screen next week's games. Syracuse at UNLV Friday night. Syracuse at UNLV Friday night in FS1. Michigan State and Oregon. But that Syracuse UNLV game is a monster game. Then SMU Louisville. I'm sorry, but both those the fan bases are allowed still to dream. They're still allowed to dream. Missouri and Texas A&M, even the Aggie fans are allowed to dream. You go right down the list. It's a Navy Air Force. Everyone's going to be watching Navy CBS against Air Force. Are you kidding me? It's game after game after game after game. Iowa still has a reason to believe or dream at least against the Buckeyes. Ole Miss have to win this game at South Carolina. Indiana at Northwestern. I'm sorry to take up your time, but it's just the games, all these Rutgers, Nebraska, all these games matter so much more now.
I completely agree. And, while everyone is going to rightfully focus on the classic that was Alabama-Georgia, I'm not really going to weigh in on that as much as just going, wow, it just was amazing, right? And potentially the first of 2 or 3 games we see between those two teams, and I'm here for both of them in every single way that could happen. But just like the Big 12 is something that is blowing my mind. I never expected Colorado to crush UCF the way that they did. And that conference is probably going to chew each other apart. So, I don't even know who's going to be in that championship game right now. It is sort of happening that the perceived top of the conference is, at least right now, all has a loss. And people that were looking further down, like BYU, are undefeated. So just watching the carnage of that conference as they try to figure out who's going to make it to the conference championship game without necessarily destroying each other so much that a second team from that conference doesn't get in because they've just beaten up on each other in amazing games. This season is shaping up, despite all the crap around NIL and transfers and all the things that drive us crazy, but we still pay a lot of attention to, especially in your community. Yeah. The season and the games itself are still blowing outweigh expectations to me. So I don't even know which game you talk about the most. To me, I think it might be, besides UCF shocking me to the degree that they lost to Colorado, and as much as I hate on Deion, got to give them credit. Like, they're right in the catbird seat. I think the other one that just stands out to me is just the Ole Miss choking away a great opportunity. But even in that, they're not out of it yet, right? They might have been overrated, but their season is not over. But that was the other game that stood out. How about yourself, besides the obvious pain of Minnesota and the Alabama-Miami games? What are the ones that really caught your eye?
Well, I want to get back to I want to get back to the Miami game.
Sure.
Because That defense, something happened, and I got to tip my cap to Virginia Tech. They did some stuff out there better than I thought. But doesn't that defense just worry you a little bit? I mean, Virginia Tech's
It
offense
depends.
pretty limited going into that game, and something happened there. That run game, Virginia Tech would run to the short side of the field, and they were gashing the Hurricanes a bit there.
It depends. Like I might be worried, but I'm not 100% sure yet, Greg. Only for a couple of reasons. I'm worried if Ruben Bain doesn't come back soon, which I thought he was going to be back for last night. So that's one thing. And he's a pretty much a game changer to add on to the line. Not even that the defensive line doesn't have other players, because it clearly does, but it's just the rotation and keeping everybody fresh and having waves of that for sure. But he's also a good leader on that team. I always expected the secondary to be challenged. So when the linebackers turned in a fairly poor game, which I think that they did, it helped to create a challenge in the backfield. But the reason why I'm less worried, but cautious about being worried about the defense is I always expected the secondary to be suspect. I wasn't expecting. I was really relying on the defensive line and to a lesser degree the linebackers. That said, Virginia Tech quarterback became the quarterback that I was hoping, looking at the season ahead of time, could be. And there's not really another quarterback like him on Miami's schedule the rest of the season that has that potential of the mobility and the ability to chop things up. They played in one of their worst games defensively. They, jumping into the air when you should have kept your feet on the ground to make sure you were able to tackle the quarterback. There's, the most amount of missed tackles Miami has had. They had more missed tackles in this game than they did in the previous four. Competition aside, you still a lot of missed tackles, some poor technique. So, and then there's some momentum swings too. Everyone talks about the phantom penalty on Virginia Tech on that long run towards the end of the game. They forget that I think it was a pretty borderline call in the beginning of the game when Miami was about to go up 21-7 and the touchdown came off for another holding and just the momentum was there, and Virginia Tech got in their field and finally put together the kind of game we have. So I'm not completely worried. I'm definitely worried about the defense come ACC championship game and later, based off of yesterday. But I would have been that way before Friday night as well anyway. But if Bain doesn't come back, I think it definitely can have impact against a couple of quarterbacks that are coming up that have some mobility and ability to improvise on the way if they get flushed out of the pocket. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Should be fun. Thanks for the call, Rock and Rant. Appreciate it, my man.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
Beautiful call. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, Duke is 5-0. Duke is 5-0. Wow. I want to take more look at the games coming up here.
Call from
Nitwit.
Nitwit, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. It's nothing like waking up this morning after a great victory last night here in Happy Valley. So, way to go, Penn State.
Yeah, it was a good victory, no question about it.
I have to say, too, like driving up there, I don't know if you guys experience this or not. Sometimes you guys got to come here, but to drive up on 22 and to see that stadium at night, right in the middle of Appalachia, just electricity in the air, just what a wonderful experience that is. And if you guys ever get a chance to come here in a night game in Happy Valley, you got to make it on a bucket list at some point in time. But what a game. Pretty happy with our offensive line. We just trucked Illinois, just
you did win
ran
the line
over
of
them.
scrimmage.
We got some things to work on, and that's what I mean about this schedule. It's setting up really good. I think we need to it seems like every test you evaluate, you find things that you can get better on. Really concerned about our kicking game. We do not have a field goal kicker. So I don't know what Franklin and the guys are going to do about that. But a strong running game will keep you in a game no matter what. So I'm really happy about that.
You got to bye next week, right?
I believe we have UCLA, and then I don't think we have a bye next week. I think we have UCLA at Beaver Stadium.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought Penn State had a bye. My bad. Oh, you do have UCLA. My bad.
Yeah, so that'll be another good test, and get some young guys in. We have some injuries, so if you guys are bullish on Penn State, we lost our safety. We've got some one of our starting guards got hurt last night, so we definitely need some time to recover and get some of these things ironed out. The penalties just driving me crazy. We're offside penalties, just some sloppiness that needs to be tightened up. But other than that, I think it was a good game last night. I was watching a lot of games. Having a night game, you get to see all the other games, and I agree with you guys about college football being wide open. See Wisconsin go out to USC and put up a great game, even though they lost. Just to see Minnesota do what they did against Michigan at the Big House, regardless of the call, that was a nice fight to come back and be in that game. And that's the theme I think I'm seeing about exciting games. We're not seeing the blowout games. Even Michigan State was in the game with Ohio State. Watched a little bit of that game too. So it's definitely an exciting time in college football. You're getting big matchups, even in some of these smaller conferences, like you said, with Syracuse versus UNLV. Looking forward to next week. So I just wanted to call in and say, what a weekend of college football we had, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. Thanks, Greg.
Yep, beautiful. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you calling. And then, of course, you got Navy and Army, right? Navy and Army. Both 4-0. First time since 1945 that Navy and Army are 4-0. And Navy plays Air Force next week. Army is at Tulsa. So Navy and Army are going to both be favored to win their next game. So they're looking at both going 5-0. The Navy schedule. Air Force, Charlotte, then Notre Dame. So Navy's going to be 6-0, most likely 6-0 when they play Notre Dame. October 26th. Take a look at Army's schedule here. Army's at Tulsa, home against UAB, and UAB's having a tough year. At home against East Carolina, at home against Air Force, North Texas, and then they play Notre Dame. November 23rd. So Notre Dame has a game against Navy and Army. Florida State is not good, but SMU does not look like a typical struggling G5 to P4 transitioning team. I predicted SMU to come in 5th in the ACC. But I did not expect. Hold on, I'm going to check something out here. I did not expect the quarterback change. That has surprised me for SMU. Now Jennings is, 63% completion, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception since he's replaced Stone. So I guess the coach made a right move there, right? Shout out to the guy from last week's pick show that called Duke win over North Carolina. I wonder if that was Lewis himself. I don't remember who that was. I wonder if that was Lewis himself. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Go back to that schedule. Oh. Yeah, we'll go through that tomorrow. It was Lewis. Game day going to Cal, first time ever? Wow. Wow. Stephen McNeely, how about Ashton Genty? Has to be the Heisman favorite at this point. I don't quite have him as the Heisman favorite, but I got him in the top 5. Again, I'll post my top 5 here. A lot of room for disagreement. I got Travis Hunter, Milroe, Ward, Genty, Nico. Lots of room for disagreement. I think most people would have Milroe in the top 5, Cam Ward in their top 5. Some people would not, running back, it's hard to be in the top 5. Some people would have Caleb Johnson's having a great year for Iowa. Some people would have Dylan Gabriel in the top 5. I have him 6. I had to have Nico in there. I could not have Nico. He's done everything you could possibly do for the Tennessee quarterback. Now, they haven't... It's early yet. It is early. Travis Hunter, Colorado beating 4-1, averaging 9 catches a game, couple interceptions, fumble recovery. He created a fumble earlier. Spectacular. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to have a different 5. A lot of people are going to have a different 5. Immaculate don't think Gabriel is a top candidate. Blaze Bunny don't think Gabriel is a top 6 candidate. Will Howard is making the march. I said that earlier. He's making the march up. Jeremiah Smith definitely should be included in the Heisman candidate. Well, Genti is going to have his Genti is going to have his opportunity. Let me just take a look at that schedule real quick. They play Utah State, Hawaii at UNLV. That UNLV game on October 25th is going to be a big game. Oregon State, the last game of the season, another big opportunity. Against Oregon. Against Oregon, Ashton Genti, 25 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's already done it against Oregon. Dylan Gabriel was 18 to 21, 243, 2 touchdowns. So again, Dylan did it against a good Boise State team. And I don't know. I mean, I've got Dylan number 6. I don't know what he is Vegas. I don't know. I did not check how Vegas is looking at it. But I don't care who you're playing. 110 of 135, 81.5% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. You're going to be up somewhere in the top 10. You're going to be up somewhere in the top 10, in my opinion. And of course, Dylan Gabriel is going to they play Michigan State and then Ohio State. So in 2 weeks, we'll see how Dylan Gabriel does against the Buckeyes. And of course, Oregon has to play Michigan and Wisconsin, Illinois. So he's going to be tested. He's going to be absolutely tested. Colorado has to keep winning for Hunter to have a chance. Let's see here. One more thing I want to check out here. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Where are you guys seeing that game day is going to California? Did that get announced this morning? Thank you, Rock and Rant. Appreciate it, Nick Boardman. Thanks, Immaculate. Thanks, AMAC. All right, guys, we're going to shut it down here. We've been on the air for an hour and a half. Recap, reaction to week 5. We went through all the games, basically all the games, even the ones that were not important. Army, Navy, UNLV, Boise State, a lot of teams in the mix still for the one spot, the G5, get into the playoffs. We went through the conference races. Tomorrow, I think we're going to have at least one early P Cloak and Dagger episode. I could have produced it this morning. A couple of days ago, I was planning on it, but I was told to hold back. So we're going to have an early P Cloak and Dagger episode for members only early tomorrow morning. A live show. I think we're going to be getting some news on Texas State by Monday or later today. If we have it later today, we may come on live again. So before you leave, please subscribe, smash the like button if you liked our content. Open up, turn on those notifications. We could come on live at any time, possibly tonight. So we got a lot to get through next week. Week 6, drama in college football. It's absolutely a beautiful thing. So thank you, Sparty, for your membership. Anthony Carlson, thank you so very much. Thanks for the great chats. Rock and Rant and Nitwit for the phone calls. I appreciate you guys all coming in. Week 6, buckle up, brace for impact. Until next time, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.